Welcome to River City Live. We have a great show today. Let's talk about what's on tap. So in a little bit, I'm going to share with you, it's a DIY nightlight that your kids will absolutely love.
I love watching the Peyton boys do their crafts.
Oh, thank you.
Great.
It's keeping us busy right now.
It's so cute. We also have a segment coming up on positivity. And boy, do we need that, right?
Seriously, yeah. I'm going to take notes on that.
Positive from the Style Your Life podcast, ladies. And Rance has something special for us out in the Publix kitchen.
Hey gang, what's going on? Yes, I am socially distancing out in the Publix kitchen with our man Chef Tony from Publix. We're going to be doing a little recipe here a little later to battle my quarantine 15 plus 10.
All right, thanks, Rance. It's now time for the River City Current. I love it. He's being so positive even as he says that. Now, speaking of food, and I guess maybe over the time that we're all on lockdown, people tend to eat a little bit more than usual. Well, a mom had this great idea, and that was to install a vending machine in her house to stop her kids from snacking all the time. It's pretty unique. I think it's a good idea. When she posts this on social media, for the most part, people thought it was a good idea. There were some people who were like, oh, that is horrible. But the idea behind this was the kids could do some work around the house or do their chores to make some money to buy things. Everything was priced really cheap. But I guess it was a way to monitor it. And I feel like with a lot of families out there, it has been a struggle. And now that we are entering the summer, having about 90 days everybody at home, you got to figure out some type of plan. Not saying this is the right plan to do.
Well, first of all, a couple questions. Where does one procure a vending machine? Do you have to go through one of those big companies that come to the station?
So she went to Facebook Marketplace. You could find anything there, apparently.
Apparently
and that's what
so.
she did. Yeah.
But it does drive home the point to the kiddos how much things cost. And it also kind of keeps you honest too. Like I've definitely been snacking on some things that I don't usually snack on. If I had to actually go through the act of digging through my purse for change, maybe I wouldn't be making some of the choices.
So I know one of your, I guess your vices that you had, M&Ms. Yeah. So that was something that you said you fell victim to. But it's interesting because when you don't have that structure, you know, I feel like that's what really gets people, you know, into forming bad habits. And then the other part of it too, everybody, not just kids, you're always in walking distance or even reaching distance from some type of food. So I guess it's just one strategy out there. If you do have a strategy of what you're doing to just kind of maintain a healthy diet, let us know on Facebook. Reach out to us. I'd like to know.
I am so glad you used the word victim when you talked about my problem with the M&Ms because I was a victim. My husband bought them, his fault. I was victim to the M&Ms. I felt victim. Thank you.
Oh, hey, no problem.
Thank you for choosing your words so well.
You know what? You always live in the no excuse zone and you figured out a way to get out of it, right?
Yes, and speaking of vending machines, there is a butcher who found the vending machine was his way to socially distance from his customers, and they loved it.
Yeah, so this was out in Rochester, New York, and what a great idea. So basically he had all different cuts of meat, and it just works like a vending machine. You didn't have to wait in line, you know, and there was less contact, obviously. The other thing that he noticed, a lot of shift workers. It was in an area by a hospital, and a lot of times when you're working at a hospital, you don't have conventional hours, so you didn't even have time to go to the store. So it was something that I feel like this you're going to see more of in the future. And he said, too, it wasn't his original idea. There's another place that did it. So just, again, to my point, it's starting to spread. And, you know, we were talking about this earlier, and you brought up a good point. Publix, they have in the deli area, it's not a vending machine, but they have pre-cut slices ready to go, so you don't have to wait in line. You can practice social distancing.
It's great because normally you'd have to be in that queue, take a number in some cases, and now I know that we always get that Cajun turkey that the boar's head, and it's already packaged and everything. I mean, nobody's offering you the little slice.
I was going to say that. Hey, if I buy this, can you throw me a slice? Just to be like old times. So now being on the trend of social distancing and kind of being on lockdown, obviously people tend to eat a little bit more. But I think another thing that happens because of all together time, arguing. People are arguing more, especially spouses.
All right, get to this part because I'm waiting for my big reveal here.
Okay, so there's something out there that can remedy this, and it's called Japanese pillow talk. Now, when I say pillow talk, it's not like
I've been holding
sexy
this
time
pillow
talk.
between my ankles this whole time just because I know where to set it. So this is a pillow. We are familiar.
Exhibit A, a pillow.
All right, so let's talk about how Japanese pillow talk works to help resolve arguments between loved ones. So you're going to look at each side of the pillow as a different thought process. And this side would be like, what if I'm right and he's wrong? This side would be like, what if he's right and I'm wrong? What if we're both wrong? What if we're both right? And you're supposed to kind of think in terms of each of these 4 ideas, and maybe at some point you'll reach an agreement.
Yeah, and I think it's, it's one of those things that, again, if you have the visual, a pillow, which everybody has at home, to walk through it, I do think it would help to de-escalate problems at home.
Yeah.
In
any situation, and we're staying at home, but boy, people are arguing a lot these days about a lot of different issues. And so if you were to stop for a minute, I mean, let's think about everything going on out there. What if both sides are right? What if both sides are wrong? What if I'm right?
And that's a good point. When you talk about world topics right now, obviously it's super heated, but having a conversation and understanding different sides of the argument, well, that's how, people can actually open their eyes and figure out, hey, well, maybe, I could see that point of it now that we're having a discussion. So it's interesting because we weren't planning to go that way with the pillow talk, but you could see how it could help remedy a lot of problems.
But there's never been a better time to address that. And what I like too is the idea that maybe you are both right. I mean, that's probably the case more than you
Does that happen in your household, to bring it back?
No, I'm always right.
Yeah,
no.
I was going to say.
Obviously, time is the great teller of who's right and who's wrong. In other words, I'll go to sleep and wake up and think, you know what, he did have a point. He had a really good point. And then maybe I'll admit it. What about with you guys?
Usually what would happen if I'm wrong, I just don't bring it up again. So when you talk about time, I just, it's just, it's gone and then we brush over. But I think for the most part, my wife is, for the most part, I think right.
Well, let me tell you this one story. This is such a good story. So we were at the Times Union Center for a Broadway show, and we were having an argument over whether or not you could bring your drinks inside the theater. And I'm saying, nope, you're not allowed. And he's saying, yes, you are. And right then, somebody walked by with a big sign that says, you may bring your drinks in. And my husband said, I wish there would always be someone walking through with
that has it ready to go?
That says I am right.
Yes.
So it's not always so clear, is it?
I like it. All right, so now let's shift gears here and talk about something that I feel like we all are struggling with, and that is screen time. And it's pretty interesting when you break this down because obviously there's more than one type of screen. So there's TV, which you are watching right now. By the way, is fine to do. Do more of it, especially for River City Live. We'll get to our research on that in just a second. But then obviously then there's a phone and laptop and things like that. So during the course of your lifespan, the average person will be in front of a screen for 44 years if you take all the time up. That is really, really scary. Years. You talk about sleeping, like sleeping is usually what, like a third of your life?
Yeah.
This is more than a third of your life, that you are in front of a screen.
All right, so I'm assuming one of those screens is work-related or school-related.
Yes,
okay.
Yeah, so I mean, that's
Can't
when you
avoid
break
that.
down. Exactly. And then this is interesting too, some data behind this. 7 out of 10 people complain that their eyes actually hurt from too much screen time. Obviously that's a lot. 6% argue over screen time. So maybe bust out the pillow, some low tech to combat the high tech. And then 41% of all families out there, they say that they can't get a handle on their kids' screen time, even though they're trying to break away from that. So it's pretty interesting. Again, it's more than I thought. This was done by one poll. They do a lot of different stats out there. But again, back to our point with River City Live. So we're not scientists, but our study said that it's fine to watch as much River City Live as you like.
Yeah, and could you get 44 years worth of shows if you started from the beginning?
Of all of ours?
I mean, we've been on for 5 years, so I guess not.
Yeah, no, not even close. But you could rewatch them too as well.
Wouldn't you just love to do that very thing? Well, fortunately for us, our Rants is out keeping things really interesting. So you can rewatch his segments over and over again for